Do you have goals? Things you want to achieve? Do you want to be an expert on anything? Is there anything you've ever thought about becoming an expert in? I want to talk today a little bit about how to become an expert, how to achieve your goals. And I hope by the end of this to help you set up a system to achieve your goals and become an expert in anything that you desire to do. So hopefully you'll follow along and this makes sense. I'm going to start with a little quote. Let's say you had to climb a mountain. You're not sure how high you want to go, but that peak looks an awfully long way away. And you know you want to get higher than you currently are. You could simply take off on whichever path looks promising and hope for the best, but you're probably not going to get very far. Or you could rely on a guide who's been to the peak and knows the best way there. That will guarantee that no matter how high you decide to climb, you are going to do it in the most efficient, effective way. The best way is to deliberately practice. And that's a quote from this book called Peak that I'll come back to later. But it begins our journey in understanding a methodology that's been practiced for literally hundreds of years. And I don't know if you've ever heard of a fellow by the name of Benjamin Franklin, but he wrote this book, amongst other things that he accomplished in his life, called The Autobiography of Benjamin Franklin. And in it, he developed a system to help himself achieve things in his life. Now, Benjamin Franklin achieved quite a bit in his life. I think he helped set up libraries and had a really efficient fireplace he had invented to help other people stay warm. I think he also founded, if I'm not mistaken, fire departments in the post office and the United States of America. And so in his lifetime, he had accomplished quite a bit. So I think if we're to focus then on goals and accomplishing stuff, the Autobiography of Benjamin Franklin is probably not a bad place to start. Well, he had created this system for himself where he would try to achieve everyday simple tasks. So where you see there temperance, eat not to dullness, drink not to elevation, silence, and I like this silence one. Speak not, but what may benefit others or yourself. Avoid trifling conversation. I think that's really awesome in this age of social media. Order, let all things have their places. Let each part of your business have its time. Resolution, resolve to perform what you ought. Perform without fail what you resolve. And that's kind of what we're doing when we set up these systems, is deciding what is it that we want to perform, what is it what we should be doing with our day, and then making sure we're tracking and being true to those things which we said are important to us in achieving our goal. And so you're welcome to pause on this page, read through the rest. I think these are really, really positive things that Benjamin Franklin was working towards. And let's continue on. So after Benjamin Franklin, in my own personal journey, I discovered this fellow by the name of Abraham Maslow. And you might not be familiar with Abraham Maslow, but you're more likely familiar with his hierarchy of needs. And I've always thought this is really interesting because I really love to understand what motivates people. I think if we're going to truly help people achieve their goals, we have to kind of understand what's motivating them. And so Maslow's hierarchy of needs really helps us in terms of understanding what's motivating people. So first, we have some physical things that are motivating us. I know you've been hungry before, haven't you? And when you were hungry, what did you decide to do? How did you satisfy that need, if you will? And current state does not equal desired state, so that's our motivation, right? So when you're hungry, what do you do? And I also know that there's times when you felt satisfied. There's also been times when you felt scared. And there's also been times when you felt quite secure and relaxed in your own environment. There's also been times when you felt loved and belonging. Maybe it was in a group, maybe it was with your family. But there's also been times when you felt quite rejected. And that's totally normal. And including, there's been times when you felt really, really good about yourself. And there's been times that you felt really, really bad about yourself. Kind of that Maslow's self-esteem goal. The The highest level, though, is this self-actualization. And that's the one that's been a little bit hard for me to wrap my head around. But I think I got a little bit of a handle on it now, and so I want to share that with you. So when Maslow was looking at human beings, he looked at kind of the best of us, and he studied the best of us, and he came up with this humanistic psychology, that theory that suits people who see the positive side of humanity and believe in free will. But what was going on here is that everybody has a strong desire to reach their full potential, to reach a self-actualization. And that's the thing, is that as much as you felt a need for food, and then you felt full, you felt a need to be safe. Maybe you bought some door locks, got a dog, maybe you bought an alarm system, and then you felt safe. Then you have a need for love and belonging. Maybe you felt lonely. Maybe that's what motivated you to join Facebook, is just to stay connected with your family. And then you felt belonging when you had that group, when you had those loved ones around you. And that sense of self-esteem, that thing that drove you to be better, to feel really, really good about yourself. That self-actualization is all about you reaching your full potential. And what do you do to reach your full potential? How do you do that? And so what Maslow suggests is that basically the ultimate goal of living is to attain personal growth. Maslow has somewhat defined the meaning of life for us, which I think is fantastic. So how do we achieve the meaning of life? Constant self-improvement, self-understanding, and then you'll be truly happy. And so if you follow the hierarchy of needs, you've met your physical needs. So you've got some food, clothing, shelter. You've met your safety needs. You've got love and belonging. You feel pretty positive about yourself, but there's more to life than that. And what Maslow's suggesting is that the more to life is that you have a desire to better yourself, to grow as an individual. And that's, I think, what's really, really interesting about this humanistic, very positive psychology. And so he has a few steps here, and I adapted this from Wikipedia, but basically we want to emphasize the here and now rather than the past or the future. What am I doing today to grow, to be better? And the future will take care of itself, and we can ignore the past. But what am I doing today to grow, to get better? And so he suggests that mentally healthy individuals must take personal responsibility for their actions, regardless of whether those actions are positive or negative. So again, focusing on today. Don't worry about yesterday. Don't worry about tomorrow. Focusing on today. What can we do today to grow, to be better? Each person is inherently worthy. Every one of you is inherently worthy. And you are responsible for yourselves. You are responsible to achieve positive things in your life, and you're responsible for your actions today. And I think that's what's really, really key in understanding this self-actualization level, is that you are very empowered to feel these peak experiences, those high points in life, so Maslow refers to it as you're in harmony with yourself and your surroundings. But truly, this is why some people get addicted to drugs and booze or whatever, is because they feel kind of peak experiences. But you have the ability to control those peak experiences yourself. Because when you're doing those things that are going to help you reach your next level, are helping you to grow, you will feel really, really good about yourselves. And you will feel a new kind of euphoria when you're actually achieving things that matter. And you're improving yourself. And really, it's just about improving yourself. And so when Maslow was talking about peak experiences, I started to read this book called Peak. And it's a very good book. But in it, the premise is about deliberately practicing, purposely practicing things which are aligned with your goals. And that's kind of ties into what Maslow and Franklin was talking about in terms of deliberately practicing things every day, be in control of your life every day, working towards a goal every day. And this is what kind of differentiates this kind of goal theory that Maslow was talking about, as opposed to some people who think just systems, just deliberately practicing anything is going to get you there. And it's not about deliberately practicing anything. It's about breaking down, what do I have to be really good at in order to achieve my goals, in order to become an expert? What do I have to deliberately practice in order to become an expert? And that's what's really key about this. And that to me is what's really interesting about this idea that Maslow had suggested. And Maslow studied the best of us. He studied the top 5 to 10% of human beings and said, what makes these people different than the rest of us? And one of the things he discovered is they set goals. And then they deliberately practice activities that'll help them achieve their goals. So if you want to become a great hockey player, I suspect I'm not a great hockey player. I'm not even a good hockey player. But I suspect in order to become a great hockey player, you'd probably have to deliberately practice shooting. You'd probably have to deliberately practice skating. You'd probably have to deliberately practice passing. You'd probably have to deliberately practice not running out of energy. So working on your cardio, being there for all of your periods. And so that's what kind of comes to mind when we think about how do I become an expert in a field. We can break down how to become an expert into things I can deliberately practice every day. And this to me is why you want to find a mentor. And the question you want to ask a mentor is not, hey, how can you give me a whole bunch of money so I can get my business up and running and then I can maybe be successful, maybe not be successful. No, what you want to ask the mentor is you find somebody who's an expert in your field and you ask them, break it down for me. What are 3 to 4 things that I can deliberately practice? What is one thing I can deliberately practice every day that's going to make me an expert in this field? And then you talk to that mentor and you have that mentor hold you accountable. When you check in with that mentor, you say, look, I've been doing these things and this is what it's resulted in. And either it's moving you towards your goal or away from your goal, but when you check in with your mentor, you're going to be talking to them about what you've been deliberately practicing, and hopefully that's moving you towards your goal of becoming that expert in the field, about becoming that business owner. Really key to deliberately practice. Another quote from the book Peak talks about get outside your comfort zone and do it in a focused way with clear goals, a plan for reaching those goals, and a way to monitor your progress. Oh, and figure out a way to maintain your motivation. So again, what's going to motivate you is taking control of the day, building towards that self-actualization, that feel that great runner's high, if you will, when you're moving towards a goal. Focus on that thing I can deliberately practice today, that I can purposely practice today, and do that one thing today. And you will be moving towards your goal. And when you do, I want you to feel great about it. So again, I want you to feel that little high, if you will, when you do that one thing today that's going to move you towards your goal. So here's that one thing I want you to do right now. I basically created a basic Excel spreadsheet here. I'd love it if you would do the same thing. And put the days of this week on top. Put the days of the week on top just like you see there, 1 through 7. And I want you to set one goal. And your one goal is this, self-actualization. Your one goal, as weird as it sounds, is to feel good about myself, about learning something, about purposely moving in a direction. And in terms under your activities, track activities, these could be the activities that your mentors are giving you. But today, I just want you to write one. I just want you to write down, I'm going to track my activities. And once you've created that, I want you to put a check mark in the day number 1. Maybe it's the days of the month. Whatever day of the month it is, you can put those across the top as well. But I want you to put a check mark in that box because today you tracked activities towards your goal. And I want you to feel fantastic about it. I want you to feel great about achieving your goal today. It might be simple, but you achieved it. And that's what matters. Tomorrow, we're going to do some more. And slowly, we're going to build up towards our goals. We can even, Malcolm Gladwell talks about how you have to have 10,000 hours and you become an expert in anything. And you've already got some hours of expertise, and this is why I like the idea of hobby marketing. Because you've become an expert in that hobby that you do, and maybe you're just building your skill stack towards now you want to understand some marketing to maybe help other people see the value in what it is you're doing or create value for other people based upon the hobbies you're already doing well. But you've already got those 10,000 hours in on your hobby. You are already an expert in that field. And so what I want us to think about is what else we want to become an expert in. And then start to track those activities. Get that mentor. Say, hey, this is what I want to do. This is my goal. What activities can I deliberately practice, purposely practice, in order to achieve their goals? Find someone in your field and do that. And you can even track the hours towards that goal. Track those total hours that you have towards those 10,000 hours, which is going to make you an expert in that field, any field. And over time, you will get there. But for today, create this activity tracking goals calendar and put a check mark in today's box because you tracked today's activity. And as simple as that sounds, you're on the path to success. Thanks, everyone. Hopefully I'll be able to add some more insights as we go along and continue to build on this goals calendar idea. And that's it for today. Subscribe if you'd like to hear some more insights. But for today, hopefully you've got your goals calendar built and you've put a check mark in the box. Day number 1, activity achieved. Have a great day, y'all.